Life or death, survival begins. Escape from the zombies. Get on board to stay alive. This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 118, Train to Busan.
Superman.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Nothing Much. Welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 118, Train to Busan. I'll be your host this evening, and my name is Brett Summers, and I'll be joined by...
Paul Hawkins.
And...
Damien Hicks.
Yeah. So just before we turn our spotlight to our film of the episode, I just like to check in with our cool Cult Faction crew, and what's been happening, Paul?
Not much.
Not much at all?
No, it's been quite quiet. Other than the work, Shell was working on Sunday, so I took the kids to a country park.
Ooh.
Went on steam train.
You go on the slide?
I didn't. So went on a steam train, went on a long trek. Obviously had the obligatory cafe with treats, and then let them run around for a bit, and then 40 minutes drive home. And I treated them to McDonald's as well.
40 minutes? Wait,
40
what
minutes,
park
yeah.
do you go
Where did
to?
you go?
It was by Bournemouth Way, Moores Valley or something.
Oh, right, yeah, I know the one.
I thought I'd treat them.
Yeah.
They've done Vicky Park.
Yeah.
They've done the local Holly Hill or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, they've done the other one nearby.
Seafood solid.
No,
Let's
fair
go on a
enough.
40-minute
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
Park life.
that's what we
Cool.
did. And yeah, just work.
Fair enough. Damien, any parks?
No parks. Not a lot, really.
Any recreation?
No. Chevy Chase is nowhere to be seen. No, not a lot. Emily's not been too well. Cough and cold and stuff, so we can't really take her anywhere because you know what people
Not
are
the
like.
sea.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, walking around with a coughing child, then people just start freaking out.
Isn't that most of their early lives, though?
Yeah.
They've all-
Exactly. So just work, and that's about it. I haven't done anything exciting. The most exciting thing I've done is
Tonight.
clear out some of the
Oh.
stuff that's in the garden. My barbecue station is now clear again of rotting wood and all the other crap that was behind the shed. Because at one point I just moved it from behind the shed to in front of the shed. And then it went from in front of the shed into the barbecue station. And now I've moved it from the barbecue station to the end of the drive. So
It's
that it
getting
can be
close to get
collected.
rid of
Yeah, well, then we've texted the
people.
people to come and do the collection.
Yeah.
So waiting on that. That's been my excitement.
Cool.
And my copious amounts of Temu orders have arrived, so that's fun. It's always something exciting when you get a message on your phone at 9 o'clock in the morning saying your part of your Temu delivery is due to arrive. You're like, oh, what could it be? It's going to arrive today. But to be fair, most of it's just stocking filler stuff for the kids for Christmas. So
No, fair enough.
What about you, Brett?
I've been the same, really, just working.
Ordering off Temu.
No, I've gone cold turkey at the moment.
I have to. I'm doing that.
But,
Because I think I've still got like another 4 deliveries to arrive. So I've got to stop because it's just going to be continuous.
I might have another look in a couple of weeks. But I've got stuff in my basket. I just don't. But yeah, no, I've just been working, counting down to half term. I did hand my essay in last week, so I've finished my course now. Now I've got to wait till February for the results.
Whew.
I know. So that's
Well, your
great.
teachers might have a life outside of marking, like recording podcasts and stuff. You know, be kind.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it this week. It was a mellow weekend this weekend. But saying that, got to watch lots of nice things and chill out for a bit.
Cool.
Great.
Speaking of which, hey, Paul.
It's
what
my
you been
favourite bit of the
watching?
podcast.
Okay, so I'll keep it short and sweet. So finished off Wheel of Time. season 2.
Did you like it?
Is it worth it? Because we haven't.
I haven't started it at
No.
all yet.
So what I would say, it's better than the first series because stuff actually happens.
Okay.
And yeah, I probably will watch another one if they make another one series. That is, for me, it's weird because I mentioned before where they cram it into a series. There's like lots of books that have already taken place and all this kind of stuff, and it deviates slightly, but it's better than the first season and goes out on a bit of a bang. So did that watch Shelter? Holland Coben's whatever it is, did all of that this week.
What was your verdict? We gave our verdict to that, I think.
So I did like it. I think they got a healthy balance of being a teen series, but also catering for people of our age.
Grown-ups.
Yeah. I absolutely get the point. I think it was you, Damien, about the last episode.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm sure they could have just added on 10 minutes to the episode before this to just to round it off. But yeah, I didn't necessarily mind the last episode, but there was a lot of padding.
Yeah.
But all in all, thumbs up. I thought it was really good.
Cool.
There were little bits where I thought it's just going to go into more of a Disney Alex, whatever his name is.
Alex Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they toned it down, and the guy that's the lead boy, whatever his name is, it was quite nice that he wasn't the all-out action hero, and actually he was saved by his friends more than he actually saved them, I think. So no, it was cool. Fair play to for what I thought was a decent series. Definitely a thumbs up. Because Halloween is fast approaching, I thought, okay, get a film for the kids, a family film, because they like Hocus Pocus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, kids, do you want to watch kind of a Halloween-y film? No, I'm on my phone. Connor, do you want to? No, I'm playing Fortnite. Yeah, I think it was Fortnite. So I thought, well, bugger you lot. I want to get into the spirit. If I had some, ghost-shaped sweets or pumpkin-shaped sweets, I'd be eating those. You'd all be missing out. And I'd have some popcorn. So I watched Disney's Haunted Mansion, the new one.
What do you think? 'Cause it split the audience. It's been controversial, and
I thought it was all right. I thought for a family movie,
horror, sort of, yeah.
I thought it did a good job. Certainly better than the previous incarnation. It's more up to date, vibe wise. The leads who are in it actually play. It sounds so old saying, but street savvy kind of characters. It's not the wholesome.
It's not the famous five.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not like the wholesome Disney stuff in the past, or they'd have to be over the top funny. The lead's actually, I've forgotten the chap's name, but he's good in it. As I said, he's more streetwise, down to earth or whatever. Rosario Dawson's in it. She's cool. Owen Wilson doesn't pop up much. He does the same character as he does pretty much in any other film.
Owen Wilson.
Night at the Museum.
But he does it well.
That kind of vibe. But all in all, I think it's a decent Halloween family film.
Well, I just remember one of the kids in my class, when it came out, he was like, "Sir," I went, "Yeah." He went, "Why have Disney brought out a Halloween film in the summer? Why don't they just wait a few months?" And it was like, that was, I think, one of the reasons why it sort of bombed. Because I think they, with everything that's going on, I don't know why, but it was like, well, just push this one out now. And it'll make loads of money. And whereas if they dropped it about now, they might be...
Yeah.
Well, perhaps they had, because obviously the whole Disney isn't just one thing, is it? It's not one entity. So maybe they can't put it straight onto streaming before.
No, but I mean, even when it hit the cinema, like they put it out in the summer.
That's what I'm saying. Is because there's a cinematic arm. There's a
So
maybe there's the because they it's wooden dollars, if you like, but it's all money that it has to filter through. So perhaps for the cinema, they have to release it in the theatres before they can go onto Disney Plus. So they were thinking to themselves, we'll probably make more mint Disney Plus wise than we will theatrical.
I get you.
Because it's all there's all different arms of Disney, so it's not gonna. You can't just look at it as one company. It has. It's all contracts and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But as I said, if you want a family-friendly horror film and your kids want to watch it with you, or even if they don't.
Well, I'll probably chuck it on at school.
Screw you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this anyway.
How long is it? Couple of hours?
Of all the things you thought you were going to get asked today.
It's about 2 hours, maybe an hour. It's between an hour and a half and 2.5 hours.
So basically we're saying 2 lessons.
yeah. You might need to split up. And also, keeping on the Halloween vibes, no kids involved because this is a grown-up TV series, for some reason, I think we mentioned it before with BBC, where they're putting stuff just on randomly. So, Interview with a Vampire, the TV series.
I've got it recorded. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, you can't record the series. You have to go onto iPlayer to watch it all. So the first episode dropped on BBC Two on some random night this week, like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, or could have been last week rather. Get my weeks confused. And yeah, it was on 9 o'clock on a BBC Two, when it's like actually really, well, I thought it was a really, really good show. Really good. And it seems to be, for some random reason, they're not giving it any top billing. And it's all available on the iPlayer. You can go off and watch it. I did. I've watched the whole series in the week. And yeah, I got a lot of time for it. I haven't read any of the Anne Rice's books.
No, me neither.
So all I've got to compare it to is the film. So this sets place in the year 2022, where the writer actually catches up with, I was going to say Lestat, then. What's his name?
That is his name, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, it is? Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You doubted yourself.
I
there.
did, yeah.
Didn't have the courage of your convictions.
Yeah, so he catches up with Lestat, like, however many years after originally, 30 years or whatever, 40 years maybe. Bloody hell. But he catches up, and Lestat's now out in Saudi or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, or one of those places, and he's got all of his money back again. And this time they say, okay, look, when I was really interviewing you first time round, I made some mistakes. I didn't really delve into stuff. You didn't really share some stuff. Let's do it properly this time. So there's no tapes. It's all on laptop now. No icing. But it is quite clever, and it is quite cool because they kind of discuss, you know, stuff that's changed them and how they've changed since they the reporter really, how he's changed over the years, and he's got some ailments, let's put it that way. I think he's got early stages of Parkinson's, something like that. So you got that interesting bit.
Is he getting tempted? Is that where it goes?
Not at the moment.
So I was just going to say, yeah.
No, not at the moment, because he Lestat did kind of making a comment like, if I gave you the same offer that I gave you then, would you take it up? And it's like, no. But you don't know what's going to happen in future series. But so you got that interesting piece. But then they obviously go back in time and try and, because obviously they want to go through the story, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, let's go back and revisit the interview again, but no holds barred. So again, you go back into New Orleans for the first season, and you're going on about how they met, all that kind of good stuff. And I think it's AMC and whoever that's actually produced the film or whatever, series rather. But they've done a really good job. It looks good. There's some gore in it. There's the relationship between Lestat and Louis again is more of a love story, as opposed to them being, you know, wingman and vampire going out on the hunt for prey and all this kind of stuff. The weird one of the weird things I noticed is Jacob Anderson, who plays Louis, if you close your eyes and listen to it, he actually sounds like Brad Pitt in the film. It's that kind of New Orleans subtle accent that he's put on, but it sounds exactly like Brad Pitt. So that's a bit weird, but he does a sterling job. Lestat is good. The weird thing in it as well is, what's the young girl's name? I think it's Claudia or whatever. You remember when in the original film there's the young girl that they
I
turn-
remember. Yeah, I remember there is a young girl.
Yeah,
Well-
she grew up to go out with
Yeah.
Spider-Man, didn't
Yeah,
she?
that's
I've
right,
forgotten
yeah.
her name.
Yeah,
So
so have
mine,
I. That's
not
right.
Duffy.
Anyway, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it doesn't matter.
So,
He hasn't
She-
got his laptop. He can't do it.
but in the
Do it
film,
from memory.
she looked like a child.
Yeah.
So you really got the interplay of, oh my god, she's always going to be this age, and that sparked her off on a cycle of bloodlust, and then they got her a nanny to look after. But the person they've got to play her in the series basically looks like she's 18, 19 to 25. So you don't get that same feeling.
Doesn't
Yes,
have the same effect
But
because
the
that's the kind of
innocence-
tragic part of the tale. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've only ever seen it once, and I don't really think I was paying that much attention when it was on, when I was watching it, rather, if you see what I mean. But I remember that does stand out as being
Yeah.
a real kind of, it's like heartbreak. You know, the child's never going to grow up, never.
yeah,
gonna,
no, exactly. So,
but then
so
have all the emotions that someone who's 100 years old would have,
Yeah.
but in a child's body. That's
and especially
disturbing,
because
really.
as part of the series, and it's not a spoiler, Bell, but she goes off to different colleges as well. It's like, well, if she's going and attending colleges, she's not looking like a
Yeah.
11-year-old, is she?
yeah.
So you kind of miss a bit of that emotional story play. But no, it's a really good, really, really big thumbs up, 2 teeth down type recommendation for me. Definitely give it a watch, because yes, it's just another vampire story, but actually they've done it really well, and it harks back to the film, but again, different enough that you're going to watch it and get something different. It's not just a regurgitation of the film.
That's what I thought it was. That's why I've not paid any attention to it.
Yeah.
So
No, don't get it obviously covers a lot of the same storyline, but even that storyline's different.
yeah.
As I said, in the film, the idea of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt sleeping together, there's no way. Well, Brad's a good actor, so he probably would have done it for the story. But part of the series, they really show the love story between the two, in a tasteful fashion, whatever. But it's really interesting to see about why they kind of fall out and how much of an impact that has.
Is it
'Cause
Kirsten Dunst?
That's
Yes.
the fella.
Don't need a laptop, mofos.
yeah, so give that a watch if you've got,
Now I've
a
got
few
that.
hours
All
spare.
the first one recorded, anyway.
Yeah, but it's all
So
on
are
iPlayer.
they going to be on each week anyway? But they've just dumped it all on.
Yeah, that's what
iPlayer?
they do with.
Yeah.
That's what BBC does now, pretty much.
Yeah,
But it's all on. It's
but it's
all
watch it
on the
now on
iPlayer.
iPlayer.
Yeah.
isn't it? What we talked about the other week. Cool.
But
Anything else?
No, I just think they missed a trick by not having it on a.
Especially like, hey, it's Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Show
all
about
about just
vampires.
BBC's just Strictly. That's it. That's
I
all
know,
they give a
but
shit
have it
about.
on after Strictly on BBC Two.
Yeah, they just don't care about anything but
No,
Strictly.
but it's absolutely bizarre, because I think if they really had it on a prime time spot, and maybe they'll bring it back again, how they've done in the past. If something gets some followings on BBC Three or whatever, then they put it back on prime time on one. But I just think they for some reason they missed the trick there.
Yeah, well, they treat acquisitions very differently to how they treat their own BBC Studios stuff. Like this is completely not anything that we would watch, but because there's this Australian thing on in the afternoons called
Neighbours.
6 Rooms, 5 Bedrooms or something like that, and it from what I can make out, it feels like it was like something they got as a filler during lockdown.
Yeah.
To fill an afternoon slot because they weren't making doctors anymore, and so but obviously everything's all back to normal, but they've still
Just
got.
chuck it on when they can.
Well,
right?
no, they put one on a Friday, on a Friday afternoon, but the whole thing is on iPlayer, and it's the same. They did the same. They had all that Salem stuff on iPlayer, didn't they? But they never
yeah.
put that on.
Fort Salem, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The
and
witches
isn't
all that.
and not Sons of Anarchy, but the other one.
Yeah, Mayans
Mayans
is
is
the
on.
same. Yeah,
So they I think they just want content for iPlayer.
Yeah.
And it's just an acquisition they have, but they don't push it in linear television because I guess they like to think they think it's catering for a different audience. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose what we were saying, how people watch nowadays is different. So
they're probably
just chuck
thinking
it
people
on.
that are interested in this, they're not going to watch
Because they
an
just
episode
put
a week.
load
They're going to
of
want to watch it on iPlayer in one go.
They
So-
just put a load of old 90s dramas back on there as well. And they mentioned that
Yeah.
the other week. But again, I think it's that same reason of people will go back and just binge it. And
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I just found it bizarre that, I mean, there was reference to it on BBC One, on BBC
I've
Two,
seen the
shortly.
trailer because the guy who plays Lestat he's been in loads of things since. He's done a couple of Doctor Who's and I think he killed someone in Death in Paradise at some point. But he was Mercutio in the stage Shakespeare's Globe version of Romeo and Juliet. So
Suddenly gone highbrow.
No, Tybalt. Sorry, it was Tybalt. So suddenly, I'm watching that 100 times at school. Half of that cast are now in things like Juliet ended up in Game of Thrones and all that. Romeo is the guy that you play on FIFA. So you have a character, Alex, something. When you get the new FIFA games, you be him and do build up his career and all that. So of course, when you put it on, they're like, "Oh, it's Alex Johnson from FIFA, sir." And it's like, great.
Okay.
And, so some of them, because it's probably 10, 15 years old now, they're all like 19, 20 in it because their careers have taken off and they all start appearing. So I recognise them and go, where's he from? But it's because I've seen him in that. And one of the other guys, Benvolio, was in something the other day, Romeo's cousin, with a beard, and he killed someone in something, and it took me ages. But it's because I've seen that 100 times. No one else has.
Yeah.
But it's annoying. But it's a good production.
Yeah, so now you can watch Sam Reed kill lots of people being Lestat.
Cool. I look forward to it.
And pretty much that's it.
Cool. Damien.
Okay. Been a bit more televisual entertainment than I normally would do, for a change. So, Ghosts on BBC, and again, it's all on iPlayer. So Sarah and I did the entire 6 episodes of that series.
Can I just say, right? I've not heard anyone mention that show apart from us before, but about 6 people on this season because it's the final. The final season, have all gone, oh my God, have you seen Ghosts? I just watched the last season of it. I think they've not watched any others and just dived in on the last season, and suddenly people have found it.
Well, it's just the thing. It's really popular among critics, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Not a lot because it's like on a Friday slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people would come up to me at school going, have you watched Ghosts? I've just found Ghosts. You like all those sorts of programmes.
And
Ghosts
this
is brilliant, and
But in the last week, more people spoke to me than I ever have in my
Yeah.
life before,
it's not something. I mean, they don't trail it that well. They don't.
And maybe it helps. I don't know when the last few series have been on, but with the run up to Halloween and
It's always around this time of year that it comes on. I
I was
think.
just saying, I've noticed the trailers more this time round, but I'm not sure whether that's because I've watched a few of the episodes from last series now that it's just Ghosts
it
is coming.
chimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an odd one. Why that's the case, but it's good. They don't do anything special because it's the last run, which I think is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no.
It leaves it open.
Yeah, it doesn't tie anything up. But there's no major story arcs anyway. But like your Friends ended when they moved out of the apartment, or Cheers ends when the bar closes.
The mansion doesn't burn down.
None of that sort of stuff. It's just 6 more or less straight episodes runs through, and apparently there's going to be a Christmas special.
Cool.
And so whether they will end it then, you'll do something that kind of draws a line or not, I don't know. But it's bang on form. I don't understand why it isn't as popular as you would what you were just saying.
People know it's there.
Yeah.
Or
but it's just
maybe
proper old fashioned funny.
But that's what I'm going to say, because it's more akin to just being humorous and something you can watch. It's not all
It's
about.
not silly. It's not. What's his name? Let's Flats.
Stavlet's Flats.
Yeah, it's not that. It's not In-Betweeners silly. I mean, In-Betweeners was good. I don't.
Yeah.
That was a good one. But comedy now, and I've said this many times on podcasts, but comedy now isn't necessarily always. It's not really played straight. It's played silly.
Yeah.
This isn't played silly. It's a silly concept, and some of the characters are silly, but it's played straight.
It's more old school 80s
It is. It's
comedies.
Odd Couple
Rent
style
a
comedy.
Ghost.
It's you up?
Rent a Ghost.
It's not far from that
Yeah.
in some of the scenarios, but the way they do it, and it is. It's old fashioned comedy where the comedy comes from two opposing things being shoved together. Red Dwarf,
Yep.
Faulty Tower, all of those ones where it was opposite people stuck in
Sorry,
a situation.
every time you mention Faulty Towers, scenes just pop into my
Yeah.
head and I can't help but smile.
But anyway, so that's that. As I say, it's bang on form.
On that note, Red Dwarf's been getting pimped out a bit more, hasn't it? Across.
Yeah, well, they're
beginning
showing
again?
every episode
It's
from
back
the
on the
start
BBC.
on
Yeah,
BBC
so I mean-
2,
Yeah.
I think, or 3, one or the
No, it's
other.
BBC Two.
And it's all on iPlayer from the
Yeah.
beginning. But the problem, so I have watched a couple on iPlayer, and I don't like it because it's tidied up. It's been
Oh, digitally enhanced.
Yeah.
Or whatever you call it,
they're not doing the ones where they released them with the with the new spaceships and stuff where they edited in
Oh, yeah.
CGI ships. They're not doing. I don't think it's those ones. But yeah, it's been cleaned
not
up.
Yet.
Not yet, anyway. Yeah, so it doesn't look right because we had grainy VHS copies or even
Just
literally
recorded
copies off the
straight
telly.
telly.
Yeah.
That's what mine
So
were.
it doesn't feel right because you can really see the when Rimmer's stood in a room and they need him to be able to walk through something.
Yeah.
You can see the bad CGI. But whereas when it was in the old days, you could get away with it because it wasn't as bright and whatnot. So that's a shame. What else? So I did No One Will Save You on whatever it was, Hulu, wasn't it?
Disney.
Yeah, Hulu, Disney,
Yeah.
same difference. I wasn't that
Oh,
impressed
hold on. Is
with
this
it.
the one with the alien?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
watched that too. And for some reason,
it's just forgot about it.
yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't get the fuss because I know I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of people, and I even went after I watched it. I went and sort of did find some reviews of it and just see what other people thought about it, and I don't get it. I don't get the fuss. It's there's nothing wrong with it from a production or the woman in it, the girl in it, Caitlin Dever or Diva, whatever however you pronounce it. Just brilliant job. Basically carries the film from start to finish,
Pretty
and the
much
idea
the
that
same.
there's no real dialogue or hardly any dialogue is a really clever, really good idea, and it kind of gets the atmosphere. But it just kind of, in my head, it just petered out a bit at the end. It's just, and I get what they've done. It's, they've looked into her head. Well, my theory of thinking is they've looked, they've kind of, she's got what she wants now, a life back. She's got a life back.
And she's the only one who's normal. But
She's the only one who's
happy
normal in a
everyone
town of
likes her
aliens,
again.
yeah. But I just kind of went out of it thinking,
I was the same.
I wasn't necessarily, and I don't think it would have been better if she'd have saved the day, or I don't know how it would have been better, but I just think it could have been better. If that makes sense.
It was just a bit of a nothing burger.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was built up. I liked it, but like you say, it was built up, but there wasn't anything. Needed to be something even more. It was something more horrific than we'd already seen.
Yeah.
Or some sort of twist that absolutely blew
See,
our
I
minds.
thought I thought there was going to be a twist that those the Greys,
Yeah.
weren't the bad guys, and it was because it invades the home.
Yeah.
And then at some point it then cuts to the bus driver, the UPS driver,
Yeah.
who's
Mailman.
been possessed.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking, are they like looking for the Krites? Are they are they actually hunting a parasite? And he was actually there trying to save her, and she killed him. I thought that would have made a much better film, to be fair,
His feet
if they were
still-
hunting.
The feet still freak me out though. when you
Yeah,
see
I mean,
them
none
as
of
they
the,
go on.
all of the
I thought
the
I thought
effects and stuff
I
was
thought
really
that
cool.
was cool.
And yeah, him walking along like that, but I just think there's that. I think, and maybe that's why I got a little bit disappointed with the end, because I was expecting a really cool twist where they were chasing the parasite, trying to stop it, and weren't actually the parasites.
And I think it's a tough one as well because Devere, whatever her name is, did a good job.
That's better than that. That's probably it. a much better way of pronouncing it than I did.
I
Diva.
I couldn't remember her first name. But I think she did a good job. But it's weird as well because where most of it's her on her own, and she's doing menial. Well, not menial. That's the wrong way of putting it. But you don't really get any empathy for her as such because you don't really find out much about her. You don't. There's not a build up and stuff to make you care about her either.
No, you're right
You
there.
know,
There isn't. You don't care
it's
one way
not
or
like-
the other whether she survives.
It's not like there was a single mum with a daughter, and you'd have the
Yeah.
the interplay between the two of them, and care about them. But I think as you mentioned, I think she did a good sterling job.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just kind of a nothing burger film.
Okay. Next up,
Cool.
Brian and Charles.
Oh, is this,
We
I
did.
want to watch that. That's the one
is
with
that the one with the
robot,
robot? he
Yeah, we
makes?
did the Trop Zone for it a couple of, probably
Ages
last
ago
year
now.
sometime now.
Yeah,
It's
Um,
matey from Derek.
I
wasn't it?
just you talk and then
I was right. I was just saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to remember.
David L,
David L. Cool.
who's in Derek and Afterlife.
the one of Fate of 10 Cats.
I don't know. I don't really watch that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's not that one. No,
No, you're
that's
thinking
other
of the
with
guy-
beard.
Yeah, so in Afterlife, he plays he's got the guy that pushes the trolley around.
Right. No, I'm thinking the one
You're thinking of the one that's
in.
Yeah, wears all the suits. And all
yeah,
that and the,
and hooks up with
yeah.
Rosine in Afterlife. The prostitute, he hooks up with the
Yeah.
prostitute, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sex worker. No, it's the other guy. It's the guy that's kind of he's manky and he's
Yeah.
a bit he's filthy basically, and he's pushing the trolley around all the time and stuff. So it's him. It's a weird one. It's like a fable. It's whimsical. The whole any of those sort of words you can think
Yeah.
of but it's gently funny is the best way I can describe it. The only thing that really lets it down is that it's mockumentary style. So he talks to the camera,
yeah.
which is fine. The only thing is there's no explanation for why. So he's this loner who lives out on a farm. I'm thinking it's in Wales. Lives out on a farm in Wales. He's clearly like a lonely, depressed man, and he just tinkers around in his garage and invents useless things. But there's no conceit, there's no concept, no premise of why there's a documentary crew with him. So like even in
So it's not even like it's a video diary and he's just doing
no,
it himself.
no,
Even like
because
he's
he
got
talks to the
full-
people behind there's a couple of scenes where he goes, I can't, what's the word I'm looking for? And the guy from behind the camera says whatever the word is. So, it's not, he obviously knows they're there, but there's no, it's not him filming himself on video like a vlog. But, like with this country, you had the words at the front that said, poverty is blah, 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 and young kids have nothing to do. That's all you needed. It was just, unless I missed it when I was going to get my Balti mix, I don't know. But there's no reason for the documentary crew to be there. And then they almost kind of disappear towards the end of the film. As in, it then starts just playing out like a normal film.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but that shouldn't take anything away from the kind of, for Town Ponzi, the message of the film, the fable that it's sort of telling. And, it is funny. There's some really funny bits in it. It's not laugh out loud all the way through. As I say, it's gently funny.
bit like Detectorist, something like that.
Yeah. It's in that same sort of vein. It's not as good as Detectorist, I've got to be honest. But it is, it's that kind of whimsy and just funny, but not
Over the top.
over the top. And it's a bit silly. It's obviously silly. It's
Yeah.
a man who's built a robot out of a washing machine. So don't go into it expecting Academy Award winning, but it has won a BAFTA of some sort, I think. So,
Cool.
Probably for the writer, it's probably either
Probably,
Ricky
yeah.
Gervais or the tall one.
Well, no, David L. wrote it with Chris Hayward. I don't know who Chris Hayward is, but he wrote it, although the pair of them wrote it. And I think Chris Hayward plays the, I forget which way around it is now. I think Charles is the robot. David L. plays Brian. But yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It is funny. It's probably not as funny as I thought it was going to be in the trailer. But again, they don't do the old thing where they show every funny bit in the trailer. There is
Cool.
more to it
Yeah.
than just the funny
That's
bits.
good then.
And finally, because it is Halloween,
Oh my god!
I know.
This is probably the most.
It's the most
you've
I've
actually
talked in this
spoken
part, isn't it?
about.
Yeah, it's Halloween, scary time, etc., etc. It's not long drops on Netflix. It's the final mini-series that Mike Flanagan is doing for Netflix because he's defected to Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
The Fall of the House of Usher.
okay.
That was my final as well.
Have you watched it?
I've done the first 5. I
I
haven't
think
finished
I'm
yet.
probably about there as well, actually. So we're not going to spoil anything. Well, I wasn't going to anyway. So obviously based on Edgar Allan Poe's short story, but I think
and a lot of Poe
a lot of
sprinkled in
his
it.
other stuff. Yeah, so it's basically an anthology, but it's linked by the fact that it's telling the story of this pharmaceutical guy and his family. Magnate, that's the word, yeah. So think Trump, but pharmaceuticals. So he's got a family, he's got 6 kids, and this isn't giving anything away because this all gets revealed in the first 10, 15 minutes of the episode.
It's in the trailer.
Is it? Funny enough, hadn't seen a trailer for it. But all 6 of his kids have been killed in the last week, or have died in the last week, I should say. And there's a prosecutor who's been trying to indict him on all manner of things to do with pharmaceuticals, like trials being
For
wrong,
years,
testing, all of that sort of stuff, all the stuff you see about in the news. So he's finally phoned this guy and sat him down and said, well, I'm going to confess, but I'm not going to confess what you think I'm going to confess. And it's basically him telling what's happened in the last week and also how he got to where he is today. The horror's good. It's not. There's no. I say at the moment it's playing more thriller drama than it is horror. The deaths are horrific.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not Haunted of Hill House.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's more
because that's like proper ghost.
Yeah.
It's almost it's when American Horror Story was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
sort of
more
end
like
of
it.
Like that sort of
So
first
it's good.
couple of years.
Oh, it's very good. Very, very good.
Because I did see that and
for
was umming
me,
and ahhing.
for me, the best
Me too.
character is the family lawyer.
Of course he is for you, yeah. So that is played by Mark Hamill,
Oh, okay.
in case you didn't know.
But it's
And
just
he's
how
doing
he
a
does
good,
it.
yeah, it's good. He is good.
plays
Don't
like
get me
an
wrong.
odd weirdo lawyer.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. And there's probably more to him than
Yeah.
we know as yet. I think I'm about the same as
his
you.
name is a whole story, is a whole other story as well.
What's his name? Well, they call
it's
him the
Albert-
Reaper, but
Albert Pinney, but there's an Edgar Allan Poe story on that.
yeah.
But I think they've just taken the name.
Yeah,
it's
I think
more
so.
a kind of.
Yeah. I haven't really
greatest
read. To be
hits.
fair, despite my love of all of that sort of stuff, I've only read a few Edgar Allan Poe stories. More M.R. James and stuff for
But
me.
you are working things out as it goes along,
Yeah.
which I like, and you get
course you
blood
do.
and gore.
Yep.
And
The cast are really good.
Yeah,
Cool.
there was a bit where Elliot from E.T. was talking to Luke Skywalker with the guy from EastEnders, the English guy. The
Did he was he in, I know you mean. I didn't know he was in EastEnders.
shouting at them in the background. Or something. I was like, this is when worlds collide.
Yeah.
With Captain, oh god, the Admiral from the new Star Trek reboots. He's the dad. I've forgotten his name now.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. He replaced the original actor that was going to play him because
Sam
he got
Neill.
no.
That's what
No,
I
the original actor, I don't know his name. I forget, and I did look, but he got kicked off the production for allegations of
Oh, he was the saucy guy, wasn't it? Does
Yeah.
it like he said, oh, that's what it was.
yeah.
I
So they had
remember
to
that now.
reshoot a lot of the stuff that he'd already done. And that's it. That's what I've watched.
Cool. I might watch that one then.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
yeah, it's
really,
definitely
really
worth
good.
it. He's leaving Netflix on a high, definitely. So I don't know what he's going to be doing for Amazon, but definitely leaving on a high, which is better than the last. So he did the Blythe one wasn't that good, was it? That was
to me, that was Netflix going, make another series like this.
yeah.
And it was like, yeah,
Blythe
I'll do
Manor.
it in a year. Like, but
Yeah.
we want it out now. That one seemed
Yeah.
a bit sort of rushed and a bit.
And I, to be fair, I wasn't a big fan of the Midnight Mass, but then that's because I'm just not a fan of vampire
Yeah.
being the reveal. I mean, it's a good take on the vampire thing, but still.
Mr. Summers then.
God, I think I only watched the first one of that and then I forgot that even
Yeah.
existed. Right. So I'm just sort of rejigging it now because you stole my
Sorry.
ending. No, that's all right.
Normally, I'm the one
Yeah.
that stuff gets stolen from me, so
Loki episode 2, season 2, episode 2 is really, really good. Lots of timey-wimey twists and turns. If you're into all that, you'll like it. The latest episode of Gem V lives up to everything. Lives up to everything so far, and adds another twist to the tale, which makes it worth watching. And again, there's a couple of nice gruesome, freaky bits just to keep you, just as you get settled eating your dinner in front of it, they'll chuck something in to throw you out. House of Usher, we've just talked about. We were flicking through the other day, and there was a Power Rangers episode on, and it was the one where the Green Ranger came back. It was good. And I was chastised for watching it, and then Kate started pointing out all the characters and things. I went, so you know it as well. And she's like, yeah, I had 2 boys. I was bringing up kids. And
Yeah, what's your excuse?
and I've watched the.
I'm joking, Summers.
I just like the colours. And I've watched the first episode of American Horror Story Delicate, which is the new season
one,
12.
Is this the one on Disney?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
Disney
they're all
now.
on Disney, aren't they?
Yeah.
This is the one with Kim Kardashian
Yeah.
in it.
Apparently, she shines in it.
She's not the worst one. That's
Really?
what annoys me. 'Cause I kind of went in like sharpening the knife.
But does she
Wait.
shine, or is she just not as bad as some of the others?
I mean, to me, I've only seen the first episode. Spoiler about Theory Bell. I don't know, but I think it's Emma Roberts and her husband, and they want to have a baby, and they're doing all the IVF
Yep.
stuff and all that, and then it's kind of going pregnant, but like weird shit's happening and stuff. So I'm guessing everyone's in on it all along, and she's going to end up giving birth to Satan or something.
Right.
Rosemary's
Right.
Baby. It just looks like that sort of everything, nothing we haven't seen before. I'm sure there'll be a few twists.
Yeah.
And Kim Kardashian's like her PR expert manager type person, and basically
Does she talk into the microphone?
sometimes she does. I can hear it in my ears, so it's being picked up. But
No,
yeah.
it's not. That's been picked. That means it's being picked up by that. It doesn't mean it's being picked up by that.
Oh, okay. Now you tell me.
Oh,
But,
don't start. Jeez.
I was judging it off of here.
No.
No, yeah, so yeah, she's not the worst thing in it, and I really did. I was waiting to just go, oh, they chucked her in as a vanity project, and all
Yeah.
that, and
Just because
She-
it's stunt casting because it's on his ass after 10 seasons.
but it's still, after probably what do we have? Murder House was good. The Asylum was a bit freaky but good. The Cover Mum was alright, and then
What was the carnival one? That was
Freaks. Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't too bad, but it kind of went weird at the end. But none of them were even scary or disturbing much after
No.
that. And then there's been that whole thing of trying to show they're all in the same universe,
yeah.
and people turning up, and it was kind of cool the
Yeah,
first couple of
I
times.
tried to watch. So there's that sort of separate American horror stories.
Yeah, like the spin-off that take
Yeah.
place in between. Yeah,
Yeah, and I tried to watch one of them, and it's the same.
yeah, because
I
the
can't
first
remember now whether it's the same
it's the
actors,
Murder
obviously.
House, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first episode, and it's just I got bored actually. I didn't even finish it, but it's just like the actor between shoots or something, and it's just boring. It's just there was nothing to it.
It's not. Yeah, it's. I mean, this one, there's some scary bits in it, but if you've seen anything like that, you've seen it.
Yeah,
And I know they'll go, oh, but it was a homage, or it was a. Yeah,
yeah, it's no excuse.
it's, there's someone in like a cloak thing, and are they trying to warn her? Are they trying to scare her?
Yeah.
Is it her? At one point, we figured it might be her from a different timeline as well,
God.
because they go that way.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty sure what we thought of will be better than what they come up with.
yeah.
And it's just sort of. I probably will watch it just to see how bad it gets. But
That's the
it's,
spirit.
but it's not. I don't know. It was just something that
Okay,
started off
move
as
on
such
then.
an amazing anthology show.
Yeah.
Just turned into
Drivel.
like
Horror by numbers.
yeah.
Right, do we have anything to lift us up?
Oh, we do. Uncanny.
Oh, I forgot about Uncanny. So,
I've seen
sorry,
the-
do
yeah.
you listen to the podcast?
So what?
The Uncanny is a podcast that's moved to television.
It
Oh,
literally
I've
says
never, I've never listened to the podcast.
Right, so
no.
yeah, your face tells me you've never even
No,
heard of
I
it
knew,
until this week.
yeah, and
Okay.
I mean, I know
You,
it was.
you go, and then I'll
Well, it was the
chime in
first
afterwards.
episode. Kate really wanted to watch it. She knew who it all about it all, so we recorded it and we watched it. And it's this dude who does like investigations into
Does it do podcasts as
ghosty
well?
stuff. Yeah, and it comes from a. He does explain that on the TV show. It comes
Did
from
it?
a
I
podcast
probably wasn't listening at that point.
and
I
all
expect.
that. So that was like, oh, okay, I did not know that. And I initially thought it was an actual show
Spoof.
showing, actors playing, a bit like The Conjuring or something, like that someone would play the investigator and you'd see what
Yeah, yeah,
happened. But I didn't realize it was like an interview thing and that. But no, it's right. I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. It had because Kate really wants to go to that street in Liverpool where the
Oh,
the
yeah,
time
yeah.
slips go.
Yeah, yeah.
We nearly went up there a little while
Is it
back.
called? Is it
but
called Cable Street?
I can't remember that.
No, I can't remember now.
But it's known for time slips and that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm up for that. Go back to the 60s, go find the Beatles.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
is it good then? Is the truth
Yeah,
out
I
there?
mean, it was. Does it answer anything? Not really. But
I
it
don't
leaves
think
it-
he
it does it in
doesn't
an
set out
exciting
to
way,
though.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's not.
Does he just present the facts? And
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
But I
So you
think-
should definitely listen to the podcast. It is really good. It's so sorry I'm talking over you
That's
now,
right.
but
That's right.
I would say it works better as a podcast. Obviously, they've only done one episode so far, but in my opinion, it works better as a podcast than it does as a TV show. But that's not taking anything away from the TV show.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit. There's a lot of things that sometimes things are just better on radio.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the thing with the podcast is because probably like us, you can chop in stuff.
Yeah.
So on the podcast, it's like this, the subject this week is blah blah blah, but we've had some feedback on last week's podcast. And,
Right.
do you know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
can, and there's a
It's more
community, if you like,
interactive.
in it.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously this is all recorded probably
Months
over the
ago.
summer,
Yeah.
etc. So they can't. And they might do. He might cut something in this week for last week's episode. I don't know, but
Yeah, no, and like you say, because there's not a lot visually for him to present, so
no,
it does
yeah.
work. I can see what you're saying.
And it's good that they've avoided. I mean, there is a few visuals of kind of like when they were talking about the
Oh, yeah, I
the
mean, they're putting
Mrs.
the
whatever
thing-
Mrs.
yeah.
Walker or whatever it was. They do put some visuals in there, but it's not like
And you see like the
Most
photographs
Haunted
they
or-
put
Not
up
over the
of-
top.
no.
There's no
Yeah.
Derek Acora running around going, oh,
Yeah,
can
none of
see."
that sort of nonsense. All those American ones where they can't just basically try and reenact it. If someone's talking over the top.
But
That-
I wonder if it's enough for the Gem Pop, because I think they would want like an ending or some sort of, like the general public who would watch those shows.
don't know.
I don't know, but it was. We'll watch the next one, so we'll look
Cool.
up the
Yeah, so he started
podcast.
the first podcast I think was looking at the Enfield Poltergeist as a kind. I think it almost was like a one-off, and then it's like this is actually quite popular. They've done three runs of it, I think, and a separate sort of special. But yes, it just presents the facts. So it's like,
Yeah.
and they'll interview the people.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It is good. There's some really good podcast episodes that do kind of make you think. When you've got, there's one about a university building in, I think it's Belfast, where like subsequent people over the years have had the same thing.
All right. Okay.
And there's no connection between Joe Bloggs who was at the university in 1973 to Dave
someone else,
Ashworth who
yeah.
was. Who the fuck's Dave Ashworth? That's a good name to come up with. To Dave Ashworth who was studying in 1985. Do you know what I mean? But they've all heard the same footsteps running down the hall or whatever it is. So there's some really good stuff in there, and if you're listening on your own, playing like zoned out to FIFA, can actually be quite cool.
Cool.
Cause yeah, so that was good.
What else, Brett?
There was a really cool Stevie Nicks concert on, and I need to remind people of it that during wrestling, Kate can now make lots of bored, silly comments, just like I did during the Stevie Nicks concert and the guitar solos, because She's very much. It was very much like a James Brown concert.
Right.
Stevie Nicks done her bits, it was great. And then there was like 20 minutes of everyone playing, and then Stevie Nicks come out again. I was like, "Can we fast forward this bit?" I watched wrestling
in a different wavy
Yeah.
dress. Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched wrestling. You watched 5 hours of wrestling. This again. I was like, okay. I'm not saying I don't like her. I'm just saying like, it's,
Yeah, I can see where.
yeah. But so I've said that publicly.
Okay, so
now.
you've watched a Stevie
and
Nicks concert.
the other one, The Reckoning.
Why does that ring a bell?
Steve Coogan as Jimmy Savile.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I watched the first 2. It is amazingly evil. Can I say that? Because he
You
plays
just did,
it.
and yes, you can.
Because
You can say it into the microphone as well
I
if you like.
forget it. But, you forget that it's Steve Coogan. You forget that's Alan Partridge. It's just because you're cringing even thinking about some of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just makes my skin crawl. And to me, obviously, Savile was a real person. You get the stuff cut in between it here and there because he's almost doing it a bit like Interview with a Vampire. He's telling his story to a journalist and then it's going back, and you're seeing what happened or allegedly happened legally, however we word it.
Yeah.
And the different horrible things that he did and stuff. And but I'm only up to episode. But it's just scary how much people let go because it's just Jimmy being Jimmy,
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing, and the whole BBC bit, even up to episode 2, is just laughable. But it makes them look bad, and they're the ones showing it. So,
Yeah.
but it's kind of brushed over, like, we've had an investigation, we're going to let him carry on. You don't see what it was or all the details, but he plays it horribly, but it's one of those. I put it up there like matey recently who played, was it Dennis Nilsson, the guy from American Horror Story when he done the serial killer series and everyone.
Dennis Nilsson is a serial killer. Yeah.
Yeah, remember the one recently where I forgot his name now. It was the guy from American Horror Story and he played that serial killer and they put the series on Netflix and everyone went mad that they were making a TV series about him.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like that.
Yeah, but people went mad because they were using not real footage. Real audio.
But this.
Then
it's
the
that
family
kind of
gave
thing.
consent for that. So
But there are bits on there where real people are talking,
Yeah.
and all that and stuff, like cut in with it. So it's done respectful and it's done well, and it's done to show more how evil he was and how he got away with it.
Yeah.
But even now my skin's crawling. But he'll get an award hopefully because he deserves it for that. And
Cool.
And I believe.
Well, not cool, but
Yeah.
We know you. I believe that is all that I've watched. Yes. That concludes my watching this week. Because most of it was, the Fall of the House of Usher. Train to Busan is a 2016 South Korean zombie horror film directed by Yeon Sang-ho in his first live-action feature and stars Gong Yoo, Jung Yi-mei, Mei Dong-seok, aka Don Lee, Kim Soo-eun, Cho Wik-shik, Ah So-hee, Han Ae-jia, and Kim I-sung. And it's based on an original story created by Park Ju-suk. The team tried to reference the movements of zombies from the game 7 Days to Die and the movements from the dolls and Ghost in the Shell in the film. So if you're fans of them, you'll recognise a bit of the creepy movement. And they also put in a bit of the nurses from Silent Hill as well. So there is some real creepy zombie stuff in there, and you'll get to see that. And that was the influence behind it. It had a budget of 8.5 million, and the box office take currently is 98.5 million. So
Boom.
it's done all right there.
They did well there, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they were a little bit surprised at how well it could do. So, any memories of Train to Busan, Paul?
Yeah, I watched it a few years ago. Loved it. Loved everything about it. It was a really good film at the time. Hey, who knows? I might have changed my mind since. And I think when doing a review of Space Sweepers or something, there were rumours about America doing a remake.
Yeah, there
of it.
was.
We'll come to that later.
Which I think would be a shame because it doesn't need to be remade. It's just a really good film on its
The
own
only
right.
people that think it needs to be remade are American film producers.
The only thing that kind of sours my memory is the next one they did, Peninsula, because I don't think it was any way as good as the original Train to Busan. But no, had a lot of love for this film.
Damien.
Pretty much same as I didn't really discover it until lockdown, when just looking for something to watch during that time period.
Yeah.
So what's that? It's about 4 years after it came out. But yep, same as enjoyed it. I thought it was. I didn't go into it expecting much, to be honest. I'd heard all the hype, and you know what I'm like. If films get hyped, I tend not to think to myself, "Oh, it's going to be shit." But I was pleasantly surprised. But obviously, unlike any of the older stuff we do, there's no, we can't really go, "Oh, remember this?" And it was only, you know, so
it's quite a
it's
recent
a relatively
film,
recent film.
Yeah, well, for me, I was in a conversation about horror films with Trevor Birmingham, my jiu-jitsu coach, and he was saying like he prefers the zombie things because he likes the sort of the quietness, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dread.
The dread, but you know, like where the world there's nothing going on, it's all quiet, and then the zombies come out, like the post-apocalyptic-y kind of thing,
Yeah.
I guess, and all that sort of thing. I'm trying to think of the word for it, but and he said, "Oh, have you seen this one, Train to Busan, the Korean one?" And I was like, "No, tell me." And he gave me like a brief synopsis, and then I went home and found it. It was on one of the channels, probably Sky or Netflix or something at the time.
Netflix. Yeah,
And,
it would have been, Netflix is where I discovered it. So
and then just watched it. It was like, that was pretty cool. and then really liked it. Yeah, and so again, it was one that I didn't know it existed until that point, and probably would have bypassed it as well based on the title, because it sounds like some sort of film John Cleese would be in otherwise. And you know,
if you're dissing clockwise, I'll have some serious words after this podcast finished.
it's shit, and so's Fish Called Wanda.
I told
I'm
you,
not a fan of that
I
one.
told you for my birthday
Oh, I'm in my pants. Ooh.
years ago, I got Back to the Future out, and I got Clockwise.
Yeah,
as a John Cleese. Anyway, sorry, Brett.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so that's our memories of it, and I don't know. That's got to be a nice jump up from budget to box office. Especially
Definitely.
in the last sort of 10, 15 years as well, where cinema's dying.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, well done. Right, to the plot then.
Okay. So, fund manager Seok Woo is a cynical workaholic and divorced father to his daughter Soo-an, who wants to spend birthday with her mum in Busan. Seok Woo's mother acts as a babysitter for her granddaughter whilst he works. Seok Woo sees a video of Soo-an attempting to sing Aloha, a singing recital, and succumbing to stage fright as a result of his absence. Overcome with guilt, he decides to grant her a birthday wish and book a train to Busan.
But yeah, we get that. It's the typical. He's too busy, really, for his own daughter. I like
It's
the
a cats in the
birthday
cradle
present,
kind
yeah.
of.
I like the fact for the birthday present he got her a Wii, and then she already had one.
Yeah.
That he got her for Children's Day, which
sounds cool.
Yeah, I was like,
We didn't have
what was
well,
that? Well, not as a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it shows you how much attention he really pays her, because he's like spending hundreds of pounds on things she's already got.
But the other thing is, part of the culture as well is if you're, the breadwinner, you are the breadwinner.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that reference later on as well, which we can go into.
Yeah.
Then.
And it is a kind of, that's the setup really, isn't it? It's the basic, daddy's too busy.
Always neglecting his daughter, always putting work first.
The mum is, or his mum, or the nan is basically spending all the time with her, videos the recital for him, and she lost it. But again, we get into that later on. And what was the other bit? Oh, when she's just on the phone in her room going, "Yeah, I don't want to be here. I'll go on my own. I'll get the train." And all that. And then she's like, "Oh, he's here."
Yeah,
she knows her mind.
Yeah, and she knows your daddy didn't pay attention.
And mummy didn't.
Cool. Okay, so the next day they board the KTX 101 at Seoul Station en route to Busan. And here we get the makeup of the other passengers that may be making a big appearance as the film proceeds. So other passengers, including Sang-ho and his pregnant wife, Seong Kyung, COO of the train company, Yong Suk, a high school baseball team, including player Yong Guk, and his cheerleader girlfriend, Yin Hee, elderly sisters, In-gil and Jong-gil, and a traumatized homeless stowaway hiding in the bathroom. Before the train departs, a train attendant is attacked. Only Soo-an catches a glimpse, but is unsure what she saw.
Yeah, I do like that. Just as it pulls away,
Yeah.
you see him get taken down.
And doesn't go back to it. It's just, boom, and that's it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I think
in the
there's
blink
a lot
of an eye.
Yeah, a lot of films would have been tempted to
Yeah,
cut
you would
to
have
the
seen
to the
him
full-on
getting
attack.
pulled
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So
this is building it.
And
Sorry.
it's basically just putting all the chess pieces on the train.
Yeah.
The baseball team's good because we got some weapons.
Yep.
Yep.
We've got my favourite character of the whole film, Sang-ho.
Who is a
He's,
weapon.
Yeah,
He is.
he's a walking weapon.
And he
And
was
the Golden
actually
Girls as well were quite
he was
nice.
actually the personal assistant to the lead in real
Yeah.
life.
He's a big trainer. Oh, he's
A
what do they
personal
call
trainer,
him
rather,
in-
not personal assistant. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, in Don Lee, he's known as more in America, like as a personal trainer. He was personal trainer to some UFC fighters and things as well.
Oh, okay.
It's only writing up for this, I realised that's the guy I've read about before because it was
Yeah.
he was trained by Don Lee. That's the same guy. I was like, oh,
Ah, cool.
so that
Every
explains
day's a
it,
school
like-
day.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. For you it is.
But you get the two old Golden Girls. I like
Yep.
them.
Although I did kind of get the impression that one of them was made to look older than she actually is,
He did look a lot like
Yeah.
that, almost a Mrs. Merton type thing.
Yeah. which is a bit of an odd thing to do. But I don't know. Maybe they just really wanted to give her a part in the film. But
Yeah,
they
I was
couldn't.
trying to think, does she do any stunts or anything? No.
No,
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 not
no.
really.
Yeah, she walks about a bit and sits down a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wonder if it's like a favour to someone else. We'll get you in this film, but now the
Yeah.
only female character left is this old biddy. So
And the only other bit was the pregnant wife as well. Who was it? Or did she look less pregnant as the film went on?
yeah, I know
'Cause
what
at
you
the
mean.
start, she was like busting out. And
Yeah.
it was like, is she gonna have the baby now? And then later on, she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but like you say, the chess pieces are on the board, as Paul said. So the train leaves, and an ill woman runs onto the train unnoticed. We get shots of the various passengers and staff, and helps enjoying the ride and getting comfortable, and it reintroduces us to them all. Then everyone seems to need the bathroom. It's not even left the station for long, but everyone needs the bathroom. The ill woman is struggling, and soon an attendant rushes to help her, but it's too late, and she turns into a zombie and attacks the train attendant. And then it looks like it's an infection, and it starts to spread.
Yep.
Yep. So this is cool. It's a what's the word? I don't know if that's the right phrase, but it's quite a low key attack. If that makes sense.
Yep.
It's not.
Yeah, no one sort of notices it, do they?
I don't know if this is just me and my old film studies head being a bit poncy, but there's no real place to put this in the conversation, so I'm just going to put it now. The film almost builds as the train speed builds. So
Yeah.
it
I see
starts
what
off
you
in
mean,
the station, it's one person being attacked, it's quite slow. There's no... because we know what we're watching, insofar as we know we're watching a zombie film,
Yeah.
we know the dread.
It's gonna
but
kick
there's
off.
there's no dread amongst the passengers or anything. It's just it's just mundane, you know. The only
It's like snakes on a plane.
yeah, it's not
it's
too far
really,
from it. Yeah, it's a good point. But yeah, but then I think that the pace builds along with the train.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
No, I like that.
I thought if I say that now because I'll forget at the end of this when we've done it.
Cool.
Oh, it's me. Sorry.
Yep.
The group escapes to another car and lock the doors. Did we miss a bit?
Well, just because everyone starts running around.
Oh yeah, right. So so the infection spreads rapidly. I got you.
Yeah.
So everyone starts getting wind of what's going on, and there's people legging it down the
I
corridor.
just start trying to do every little bit, but there were so many people.
Yeah,
and things that
it'd be
happened, it was
impossible to
just
do that.
like-
Yeah,
It'd be a 10-hour podcast.
yeah. So then as the people as the now zombies are kind of pacing their way through the train, it kind of goes back to focus on the group of people that we've kind of become familiar with, and they escape to another car and lock the doors. Internet reports and phone calls make it known that an epidemic is spreading southward across the country. When the train stops at Daejeon station, the survivors find the city overrun by zombies and hastily retreat back to the train. Splitting up into different train cars, the ensuing chaos, Sukwen learns by phone that his company is indirectly involved with this disaster.
Yeah. Plot twist. He's responsible for it.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form. But I like this. So this is the bit that I'd seen in whether I don't know whether it was a trailer or one of those sort of YouTube videos where they show before I'd seen the film. So I like the desolate. Well, when I actually
Desolate. That was what I was trying to think of earlier.
Right.
That's
So
what I meant,
desolate.
the
Yeah. So the
quiet
desolate
sort of-
train
yeah.
station. You've got you're definitely seeing this guy's true character insofar as he doesn't give a shit about anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously he's trying to save his daughter.
His
But
mate said, don't go to that square. Go to
yeah,
the North
exactly.
Square.
So he's not letting anyone else in on this secret of his. But yeah, I thought this was all well done. Again, it's nice because at certain points you have to get them off the train, but otherwise it's just the same thing.
And it's the flashing of hope, isn't it? You know, if they get there, it's all going to be all right. And then you get there, and it's like, oh look, there's the army.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not.
No, it's not. Well, it was.
But yeah, I did like it. Yeah, you get him doing that, and just the COO guy comes into his own a little bit more here as well.
Yeah, do you not know who I am?
Yeah, as being I believe the technical term is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just it's always good when you see some escalators in a zombie film.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So the military establishes a quarantine zone near Busan, to which the conductor sets a course. Seok-woo, Sang-hwa, and Yong-guk, who have become separated from their loved ones, fight their way to where Suan and Seong-kyung are hiding with In-gil and the homeless man. Once regrouped, they struggle through the zombie horde to the front train car, where the rest of the passengers are sheltered.
Yeah, everything will be all right then.
So, at this bit, they're back on the train, but they're separated in different carriages.
It was the mad run back from
Yeah.
the
So-
train station zombies.
So this is where we get my daughter's back there. I need to man up a bit and go and
Yeah.
get her. And he's accompanied by the big guy
Yeah,
who's managed to get a police shield.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's kicking ass.
Yeah.
I love that. He's running
Yeah.
full power to get to the train, and then he scoops down to pick up the riot shield and the baton. I think it was. I can't remember now.
yeah.
And they also go a bit MacGyver when they recognise they can't get bitten, so they start taping up their arms and all this kind of good stuff.
Using what they got, and also we've had. This is when they realise as well, isn't it, that when it's dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
They-
if the zombies, and this is one of the flaws, so if the zombies can't see them, then they just go into like a dormant state. But we know that that's not necessarily the case for some other bits of the film where they're locked in, I can't remember what it was now, a bathroom, and they're trying to get out. So it's not as simple as if there's no,
Yeah, well, I think
If
might,
they
might
can't
be
see them.
noise as well, maybe.
yeah. But it gives them a little bit of wiggle room as well. So when it's dark, they can make their way a bit
Yeah.
better. And I thought that was quite a nice touch. You've seen it before in some other zombie films where I can't remember what it was, whether it's the motion or anything, but
There's normally a way in that either you cover yourself in the blood and
Yeah.
you can walk through
Yeah,
them,
that's
or
there's
the-
loads of them in The Walking Dead. Those kind of
and
things.
again, one of
but-
the nice things about this as well, which is slightly different to some of the zombie films and series in the past, is they're bloody fast zombies. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm coming to get you, Barbara,
it was
and
the
where they're walking at
one-
like 5 miles. No,
Yeah.
that's probably quite fast. 5 walking, but
Yeah.
like walking at 1 mile an hour. It's like no, they will run and get you, almost World War Z style.
It was the
crashing over
soldier
at
the
each
train
other.
station. The soldier that dropped, and his arm was kind of like
Yeah,
above his head, backwards, hanging down, and sort of just the sheer volume. It was like a swarm.
yeah, that's what I said. So
Yeah,
that nice touch, and they have the same in World War Z, where it's just a sea of zombies just getting over each other.
so no,
Yeah.
it was good. And and I like you say, I don't think I've ever seen a film where they've taped up to not be bitten. I was trying to figure out. I thought that's probably
No.
what I've seen it because I was like, "What are they doing?" And then I was like, "Oh, yep." And then old matey's there. He's like, "Right, let's do this."
Yeah, everyone else. He does. You're right. He tapes himself up, but he also takes everything else off. So he's basically got a
The
vest.
tie
Yeah.
comes
Oh,
on the
I've got-
jacket.
so he's got his wrists are covered, but yeah,
Yeah.
the rest of me.
He's thinking they're not going to get that close.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's going to be a right thing because like they only got to get to there, and then their friends are on the other side.
and they'll let them in, and they'll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess that's me now.
Yep.
So at the prompting of Yeon Suk and the train attendant Kim Chow, the passengers prevent the survivors from entering, fearing that they are infected. Sang-hwa then bravely sacrifices himself to give the others time to force open the door and enter the car. But In-gil the old lady is killed.
Yeah. So there's 2 bits of this. It's more the COO convincing them not
Yeah.
to let them in because he's scared and doesn't want to get
He's a selfish
infected.
bastard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Sang-hwa, or whatever his name is, apologies, has been bitten, so he knows he's going to turn. But it's like, no, I'm going to save my pregnant wife and I'm going to give
Yep.
you guys a chance.
Yeah,
And
this was the best ever. I'm about to die, so I'm going to sacrifice myself
Yeah.
ever in a film.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. That would need some thought, but
yeah.
to be fair, right now I cannot give you a
Yeah.
better example. So
Platoon.
But he still holds his ground for like about 10 minutes. Even though he's dying. He's gripping that door and just smacking the shit out of him still, even as his eyes are glazing, he's still...
And I think this is probably the first time as well where we realise, because most of the other things, they get bitten and then they turn instantly. But for some reason, him and later on, there's a bit of a time lag, whether that's will to survive or,
yeah,
will to
see, that's the
protect
thing that you can
people.
always explain that away in these
Yeah.
films because a lot of them do it, don't they? There's a
Yeah.
lot of film. I mean, Walking Dead was classic for it. What's his name? The kid. I forget the kid's name. Carl.
Carl.
Took like 3 episodes to eventually turn, whereas the other main lead from the earlier seasons pretty much turned straight away. I forgot the guy's name now. He went on
Yep.
to be in the. Was it not the Punisher?
Punisher,
It was
yeah.
the Punisher, wasn't it?
John Burf.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
Burnful.
yeah, I think you're right. I think it can be one of those things where they can explain it away by they've got a will to carry
Yeah.
on, or their old self is still shining through. Blah 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 blah.
Cool.
Stuff.
But I did like, there's a nice fighting considering you've got an aisle
Mm.
and
Yeah.
some seats. They did some
Yeah, I
nice
think
bits
they make
there.
really good use of the confinement of a train carriage. And train carriages are wider over there than they are here, that's for sure. But even so, they're still not. It's not like the
And
width
even
of-
that might be later on actually, the shelves.
Yeah, the
when they-
parcel rack, yeah.
when they
Yeah.
crawl along the shelves. That's when they got the little girl on that and stuff like that. It's just so many things in such a small space.
That's what
Cool.
she said.
Okay, so Yeon Suk and the passengers demand that the survivors isolate themselves in the front vestibule. However, Jong-gil, disgusted at the passengers and despairing for the loss of her sister, deliberately opens the other door and allows the zombies to enter and kill the rest of the car's passengers. Yeon Suk and Kil-jil escape by hiding in the bathroom. So I didn't see them do that. But
Yeah, well, you don't. It's just later
oh,
on,
okay.
don't you?
I thought I'd missed
you
that somehow.
think they're dead, and then they creep
Yeah.
out the door and
Okay,
like,
fair dues.
bastards. It's just It's like a bloody cockroach.
Yeah, it just keeps coming back.
But yeah, that was nice. She was just like old lady having a kind of moral thing because they've kicked them out there and they're tying that door up, and she's just like
Although
looks at her sister through the window.
a bit of a rookie mistake. They in essence by getting them to isolate in the other vestibule, they've sandwiched themselves in between
Oh yeah,
two potential crowds of zombies.
yeah. No, it was a bit
Should just
silly.
set
Schoolboy
fire,
error.
fire to them or kill
But
them.
it was their
Yeah.
desperation, wasn't it? He was trying to sort of seize control of everything, and
Yeah, it wasn't a good way of doing it, as it played out.
yeah, it was. But it was. But again, it makes Matey more of a horrible piece of shit.
Yeah,
The other guy just for being his lackey,
yeah.
and there was a bit where she got to the window. I swear I could hear "Thank you for being a friend" playing as she looked through at her sister, and then opened the door. No, stop the woman!
Okay, moving on. So a blocked track at East Daegu Station forces the survivors to stop and search for another train. Yeon Suk escapes after pushing Ki Chul into the zombies. Git. A flaming locomotive derails, separating the group and trapping Seok Woo, Suan, Seong Kyung, and the homeless man underneath a carriage filled with zombies. Meanwhile, Yeon Suk runs into Jin Hee and Yong-guk, pushing the former into a zombie in his attempts to escape. Heartbroken, Yong-guk stays with Jin Hee until she turns and kills him. Bitch. The conductor starts the locomotive on another track, but is also thrown to the zombies while trying to save an injured Yong-suk. Seok Woo finds a way out from under the carriage, but the escape route is shortly afterwards blocked by falling debris. The homeless man sacrifices himself to buy time for Seok Woo to clear the debris, and he, Suan, and Seong Kyung manage to escape it onto the locomotive. Yeah, so
father, son, and pregnant lady escape.
yeah.
So I was expecting the homeless guy to have not more to do, to just be more involved in something that's happened, if you see what I mean.
So the way I watched it and took it is actually up until that point, he's just been trash, literally. He's been this cowering wreck. He also stood on a can, which gave away their position when they're in one of the coaches earlier on. And this is almost like his redemption song.
Oh yeah, definitely it is that. Yeah, I get that. But what I mean is because he comes on, he when we first introduced to him, I think he's stowed away in the bathroom, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's sort of just muttering, "They're all dead. They're all dead. They're all dead." So I was thinking there was going to be some sort of reveal where he worked. So he's not a homeless. He's not a homeless.
There is a
hobo.
prequel anime that I haven't actually seen. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. So I don't know if it links to that.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I thought that's what they were going to do with him. That he actually
yeah.
can, because we don't. It's a bit like what they've done with The Walking Dead and some other these zombie films. They never actually reveal really what's happened. I mean, they might do in the Peninsula one. I've not seen it, but in this one, they don't. You get some inclination from what we said about the hedge fund manager or whatever he is that says, we know it's his company of some sort, but we don't know what's actually happened other than we can just infer that some sort of bioweapon or whatever has got out. So I was just thinking that's what he was going to be.
Because he keeps looking at like the stock market thing, but we can't. They never ever translate that, though, so we don't know what it is as such. But no, I did like the fact that you just had the guy on there that you didn't know that much about, and like you say, if they made it in America, we'd get his whole backstory and everything.
Oh yeah,
and he'd tell it all before he died. Whereas here he's just like he comes on,
I can't cry,
does something, and then gets killed, and you're like, well, who was he? But no, it was really good. And again, if you don't hate Matey by now,
you definitely have no soul. You have no heart.
And and just to really push it even further, he makes himself an even bigger arsehole.
Yeah, if you're rooting for him in this film, then you've got some serious issues.
I love all the zombies in the windows.
Yeah.
At one point, I was trying to work out if it was actually people or just like computer Like there was a big screen, and it was
I
just
know.
people going, "Rrrr."
I think that was real.
Cool. Yeah, but that was well done, and the whole how it collapsed on them, and then they got
Yep.
out the gap, and
Yeah. I think all of this stuff is well done. You know, when you've got those like really high, probably drone shots now, but the old days would have been a crane shot
Yeah.
of them running towards the train, and you're getting more and more zombies coming from all the
Yep.
different angles, and it's just all culminating like that. I mean, that's just such a brilliant sort of shot. If this had been a a Western made film, not a Western film, a Western made film, that would be in one of those books of some of the best shots, the best scenes, the best whatever in history, because just the way because it's almost like the camera's pulling back, the train's going off in that direction, and then you've got like three different movements. You've got the camera coming that way, or going that way, I should say. You've got these people coming in from these angles, and the train's going in this direction. So that's the kind of thing that if you're doing a film studies course, that if it was in a film made by an American production company, they'd be
all over it.
It'd be all, yeah, exactly. It's just, but people just don't even think about it. It's not even mentioned. But I'll shut up.
No, but this is what again, and this fits in with what you were saying about the train as the journey's going along. Like the trauma level at this point is going through the roof.
Yeah,
because you've got the pregnant lady, you've got the little girl, and the dad, and the poor train driver. He's done so well.
Yeah, he's an absolute hero.
He was the unsung hero of the film who kept everything going until matey screwed him over.
Yeah.
But you've just got this build up of trauma of them, and it's very rare now where I watch something and I give a shit if they do get there. I enjoy the film.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But this time I'm actually rooting for them now. It's like, come on, you can do it. Oh, you push it. And you can feel the adrenaline building up. And even in a bit late, well, I'll say it in a bit later on actually. But yeah, so carry on. So they've escaped. They've got on the train and on the locomotive, and it's pulling away. But one zombie grabs it, another zombie grabs it, a couple of zombies grab them, a couple more grab them, and then suddenly there's a lot of zombies all being dragged along and running up, and it's looking bad. But our hero fights off the zombies that are hanging on the locomotive, and after a lot of kicking and stamping on hands, they kind of fall to the wayside. And then he goes round to see what he believes to be the driver.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's favourite piece of shit, Yeon Sang-ho. And he's on the verge of turning himself now into a zombie and is begging for help because he wants to see his mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the weirdest part of the entire film, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But what I like then, even the biggest piece of shit was like, I just want to go see my mum. And it was just like, the trauma, the impact of it.
You can see your mum in hell.
That would be the thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's the John McClane part of it.
Yeah.
So Seok-woo explains to him that he's been infected, he's going to die, and then he doesn't believe it at first, and then kind of gets upset, and then that just turns him into a zombie, and they have a big fight. And Seok-woo kind of does a bit of a die-hard Bruce Willis where he ties the chain around himself, throws himself off with the guy, and he flies off and then climbs back up. But Seok-woo, everyone's favourite non-attentional dad, has been bitten. So he puts Soo-an and Seong-kyung inside the engine room. He teaches Seong-kyung how to operate the train.
Yeah, well done for that.
Yeah, because he knew. I was impressed he knew that.
Yeah.
He obviously got a train simulator downloaded.
And he says goodbye to his daughter, which again adds to the trauma because she is just screaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She is an amazing actress all through this film.
Yeah, is she an amazing actress, or did they whack her on the arse or something?
That's what I'm saying. Even
it's like they keep poking her with a stick. I don't know, because it's just like that's it feels like genuine terror and horror.
And you just get that bit at the end where he stood on the edge of the locomotive while she's screaming in the background. And
then he goes to his happy place.
And you just see him thinking about her whole life. You see her born and some of the birthday and the happier times when I guess he was still with her mum.
Yeah.
And then just as it kind of gets out, he kind of smiles as he's turning into a zombie, and then throws himself off the locomotive.
Hmm.
So you get that kind of redemption part where I guess he's finally done something for his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sort of ties in what we said. And there was another bit later on as well where he gets advice from the hard man guy. He says something about being
Earlier on.
dad, you know,
That's right. Yeah, much
on.
earlier in the film,
Don't feel
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
You've done
Yeah.
everything you can to provide for your
She'll
daughter.
understand
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, and all
She'll
that
get
sort of thing.
understand why you're doing it.
So it's kind of that redeeming arc has sort of fulfilled now.
Yeah.
And you get this is the sort of the emotional bit, and it's sad. And even Kate was like, by now, was hooked on this film, and she doesn't really like zombie films because she said they get boring.
Yeah, I'm kind of with her on that, to be
Yeah,
honest.
But this one, she was just like, she just kept going, how traumatic is this? And then when the poor girl was screaming as well, she was
Yeah.
like, because it's written, it's a raw scream. It's not just like
It's visceral.
Oh, Daddy,
It's,
no!
yeah.
It's like ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you are listening to this and you're not a zombie film person, don't worry because this isn't a zombie kind of film. In that
No,
way.
hardly any
There's a lot-
zombies in it at all.
There's zombies in it, but it's not they're not all waiting around for ages and stuff. It's got
Yeah.
a nice pace to it,
And they're not rushing to get to on top of them or,
and it
or
will
anything like that.
it will traumatise you.
In a good way. Cool.
Damien.
Okay, so due to another train blockage, Suan and Seongkyung are forced to stop the train at a tunnel just prior to Busan. The two exit the train and continue following the tracks on foot through the tunnel. Now, that in its own is just scary. Would you do? I don't know. Would I? I guess after
Well, the
all
only-
I've gone through,
Yeah,
But the
I
only
suppose
thing
I
is,
would.
as well, the zombies can't see them in the dark.
yeah, but you can't see either.
I know.
I mean, it's pitch black.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
take your way
yeah.
slowly. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're right. Normally, I wouldn't go through a tunnel
No.
anyway.
Exactly. So they're going through. They go through the tunnel, and then we cut to a pair of snipers that are stationed on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
They're going. They start look. They sort of. They look. And he radios through to say we've got some people coming through the tunnel. Verify if they're infected. Can't do that visually. Well, shoot them then.
Yeah.
So
that was what as well. Kate went, no, not that.
yeah.
Because again, the more trauma that after
Yeah.
all that, they're gonna die.
This is a very well done piece. The guy, he gets his eye in, it cuts to his trigger finger, and it's just about to squeeze on that trigger, and Suan starts singing "Aloha Oe" as a tribute to her father. They can hear it, and they think to themselves, "Well, zombies don't sing, so they're not infected."
And they all run towards them, don't they? And
They do,
that's-
yeah.
And that's the end.
And that's
Then
the
it just
end.
Fades to black. Like,
Yeah.
well, what happened?
Yeah. So what was the deal? What caused this? What happens next? Etc. Etc. But yeah, so that's the end of the film.
Cool. I'll just give you the sort of legacy parts of it before we go into
Yeah.
pick it to pieces. An animated prequel, Seoul Station, also directed by Young, was released on August the 18th, 2016. And then Peninsula was a standalone sequel set 4 years after Train to Busan, also directed by Young, was released in 2020. It got mixed reviews. I did like it, but it was nowhere near as good as this. That was more your traditional zombie
Oh, sorry. What was that?
Walking Dead, Peninsula.
Yeah.
That was
But
more,
it's
yeah.
like I said, it was still
Yeah.
okay, but it just didn't stack up to this.
But he said it was never a sequel to Train to Busan, but it was just set in the same universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't, yeah. An American remake is still in the works. In 2016, Gaumont acquired the rights for the English language remake.
Gaumont.
And then, Gaumont, whatever. In 2018, New Line Cinema, Atomic Monster, and Coin Operated were announced to be co-producing partners for the remake, with Warner Brothers distributing. They had Indonesian director Timo Tjahjanto to direct it, and he was in talks to Helm with other people also, and James Wan apparently was going to be involved as well. In December 2021, the film's official title was revealed to be The Last Train to New York, and was scheduled to be released in April 23. However, in July 22, Warner Brothers removed the film from its release schedule, with Evil Dead Rise replacing it and taking its release date. So at the moment now, it's still in limbo.
Development hell.
but
It's just where it should stay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, even that, the last train to New York,
yeah,
just
lame.
yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty much where that franchise is at the moment. If I suppose it is a franchise, there's more than one.
I guess so.
So, Paul, you saw it ages ago. You've seen it again now. What did you think?
No, I still really enjoyed it. Loved it. As soon as you said it, it was going to be on the spotlight. It wasn't oh God, really? Or oh my God, I've got to better make sure that I put this on at a decent time. Otherwise, there's not maybe a chance that I might fall asleep. Still stacks up. Still really good. I think it just shines in a lot of zombie darkness. But let's face it, and we mention this a lot. There's so much in the world of zombies, vampires, and all that kind of good stuff. And it's a tough one to do because it's out there in pretty much every way, shape, or form going. But I think having it set on a train. And the different interplays between the characters, and maybe it's a bit cheesy and a bit corny in places, but I completely forgive that. And some of the tropes in it, fair play. It might be cheesy, it might be corny. The old woman opening the door to see her friend again in death, and I don't care. I don't care. The dad who's a harsh dad comes up and becomes champ in the end. Loved it. It's a great combination of horror, little bit of cheese, but all for the right reasons. Heart wrenching, heart warming bits. Really likes it. I must admit, I also liked World War Z. Completely different to this because that's more large scale zombie issues and about
Is
how
that the Brad Pitt one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but it's on a completely different scale. Completely different films, other than zombies. And yeah, I thumbs up, big thumbs
Cool.
up for me.
I think by the time Z come out, I'd fed up with zombies at that
Yeah,
point. 'Cause of
Yeah.
The Walking Dead. Innit? Okay, massive thumbs up from Paul. Damien.
Yep, same as. I mean, I actually appreciated it more this time round than I did the first time. I only watched it once a couple of years ago. Appreciated it much more this time round, probably because I knew what was coming. So So those things, what I mentioned about the camera shots and all that,
You could enjoy it a bit more.
I wasn't picking up on the first time round because I was concentrating more on So it's just the set pieces are really good. The way it's shot is really good. Let's be honest, it's zombies. It's not groundbreaking in originality, really, other than the setting. Because I don't think maybe episodes of The Walking Dead may have done something kind of similar, not on a moving train, but they the confinement and all that sort of stuff. But certainly not. I'm not aware of a zombie film that's done that in the past where they've been trapped in a moving train like that before. So I thought that that's a really good concept. It doesn't hold back on its gore. It doesn't. It isn't. There is sentimentality in there, but it's not overly sentimental.
Yeah.
It doesn't go too far on the redemption arcs or the sacrificing arcs and all that sort of stuff like some films do. Because with what's his the guy that the big dude.
Yep.
I think it for a Western audience, it would be made that he'd have more dialogue, more.
Yeah.
He
would have said something cool.
Yeah.
Whereas all he says is, "You know what to name the baby now, don't you?" Or
Exactly.
something like that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There would. I don't know. There's just enough characterization for you to care about them.
Yep.
But it doesn't go overboard and all of that.
Balanced.
Yeah. Which you don't get in a lot of films like this normally. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's difficult because it's not, normally we go when we watched it, 20 years ago, blah blah blah. But with this, because it's so recent, I think it's an all-round good, semi-original idea. I can't say it's original because it's zombies and there's thousands of zombies films, but Yeah.
That's pretty much what I was going to say.
And I do. To be fair, I normally do prefer my zombies to be slow ambling because I feel that
to get
but that feels even though they are, I guess, technically easier to get away with from, it draws you into that fear of foreboding and dread because they do walk so slowly and they do creep up on you, and that's in my mind, because it kind of harks back to the old M.R. James kind of ghost story stuff, that's more scary than
a bit like It Follows.
That feels more creepy to me, whereas these kind of zombies are less creepy but just scary.
Get out, run.
Yeah, it's just like fuck me, it's like, to be fair, I mean, I think at some point on the way in that I would have just given up. So my heart can't take this. I've got high blood pressure. I've got depression. I'm on statins. Fuck it, just take me. I don't care anymore. I'm fed up of running up and down this train. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
To Busan.
Yeah,
remember that if we're ever on a train full of zombies. Go on, Damien. You said you'd give up.
Yeah,
give up now. Let us go.
Yeah, you crack on ahead. I'll just sit here. I'll keep banging this tin can until they arrive.
Just do that in the toilet. Make some noise. What about you, Brett?
Again, I loved it. It was a breath of fresh air in a TV film zombie apocalypse of everything.
Yeah.
You know, it just came in. It done it different. None of the characters were pushed down our throats. We knew the guy was a baddie, but he became a bigger piece of shit, as I say, as it went along. It wasn't at the beginning, haha, I'm the bad one here. You know, it slowly revealed itself. And once we got an idea, then he got even worse, you know, and the characters as well. Like you say, the big guy didn't really have any cool one-liners, but just kind of got on with it.
He was an everyday dude, stepped up to the plate.
Yeah.
The baseball team, the cheerleader girl, you know, he wasn't the atypical kind of stuff that you would expect to see in most films. And even the
sorry
hero,
to jump in as well.
Yeah.
But just on that, so the baseball guy that managed to survive, he still gave it a go. He's not a Hollywood atypical hero, and he failed in the end, but only because he loved a girl. But he still gave it a go and worked with the big dude and supported him.
Goes a bit when they got to the baseball players, and he bottles it a bit because it's his mates, and then eventually he kind of shakes back in it and stuff.
But I do think if this was an American film, they'd have all just instantly turned into the A-team. Apart from some, one nerd or something. But this was more, I was going to say realistic and relatable, but it was just some people trying to make the best of a bad situation.
But even with the weapons and things, it was done. Nothing is weird.
Well, I think
again, it's
one of the good. One of the good
top,
things about when this type of film isn't set in the States, there's no guns.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what the gun laws are in South Korea, but there's clearly none on the train. So when it's
everyone would have
in an American film, there would be at least one gun on that train, if not more. So you've always got guns to fall back on when it comes to these type of films, when they're set over there. It's a bit like in Shaun of the Dead. They have to get the only gun in that film is in the Winchester, and there's always this thing where there's a load. Is it real gun?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So
they have to get creative with their weapons.
Yeah.
And that's it. But when they do, it's almost like a real reaction. He hasn't picked that shield up and then took the head off 15 zombies as he ran past it.
No, it's just literally
them away.
Most of their defense is just pushing things away.
Yeah, and I think the most athletic move might have been like a running punch. In the whole thing, there was no slow motion jumping, spinning kick from 15 different angles, or everything about it was real as such, even though it's zombies.
Yeah,
or done in a realistic way, that it wasn't over the top or stupid or whatever, And most of the characters made sense of who they were. The piece of shit was a piece of shit who was trying to save his own ass. I can get that. I don't agree with it, but no one was like, I must do that, or made a, there's a noise down there. I'm going to walk down and see what it is.
Yeah.
Or
And to be
anything
fair,
like
none
that.
of the, the guy does sacrifice himself, but he's doing that. He's not doing that for the good of the other passengers. He's doing it for his pregnant wife.
Life, yeah.
There's no Rick Grimes in this. There's no Ash isn't really the same. No, Ash is completely selfish. But there's none of those. It's not one person becomes a leader and leads them all to victory. It's he does what he does to save his own unborn child. The other guy does what he does to save his 6-year-old daughter. It's not.
I think the only one that is as
selfless is the homeless
zombie.
the zombie.
The zombie. Yeah. You got to take time to remember the zombies.
Yeah.
They just sacrifice themselves by getting hit.
Well, all those ones that get under the train, they sacrifice themselves for the other guys coming along behind them.
The homeless guy is the only one that really does it.
He's actually the only true selfless character in the entire film. Well, I guess the daughter as well, but
So it was really good. Okay, then verdict, Mr. Hawkins.
So this was a tough one because in my head, you're instantly comparing it to other zombie films.
Yeah.
I've mentioned World War Z and I mentioned Shaun of the Dead. Both films I really, really like, but they're completely different. So I feel justified to give this, because in the back of my head as well, I'm thinking, God, they only made this in $6 million. That's pretty damn good, So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, that is good.
It is, but I think it's justified from my perspective.
Fair enough.
Damien.
So a bit similar. So I'm putting it in the context that this is a zombie film, so it's not, it's not Rosebud. What's it called?
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane. It's not.
It's certainly not.
No, but you know what I mean. But the stuff I touched on earlier with the way it's shot, the way it builds, it builds like a train journey. It speeds up,
goes like a train
as the story progresses. Then they get that little. It's not quite downtime, but the film does slow down a little bit when they're at a station, and then it builds up again. So it's a bit like that. One of those. What's it? There's a really old, like 60s poem that's been put to the postal trains. There's the train, chugga, 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 and that's how the film played. The film does that, like mimicking the train journey. So even though it's a kind of almost a throwaway horror, which I would normally give it, a 6 or 7, just because of. It's not Oscar worthy or anything like that. But like you, I'm giving it a 9 just because it's the way it's done.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because I almost felt like I wanted to apologise for giving it a 9, but for what it is,
because there's so many better stories out there.
Yeah,
but this isn't about the story.
It's
about the action, the set pieces, the sequence, and the way it's shot. That's what it's about, and that's why I'm giving it such a high.
Say it loud.
Number.
Say it proud.
Say it proud. It's getting a 9.
But I think that's what makes it. It's not. There isn't a story as such. There's a guy getting in the train with his daughter. There's another guy with his pregnant wife. There's no overly contrived.
And also, let's be honest.
We've got to get the cure.
A great film doesn't need to be an Oscar-nominated film.
No, don't get me wrong. That's not what I was kind of saying.
I know, but we should embrace the scores. Embrace the madness.
And I think that's what makes it, because it is, you could be on that train. It's an everyday train where people want it doing every day. It's not like the...
Yeah, I mean, that's another good thing about it, about the characters. It's not a retired police officer.
Or bounty hunter on a train.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's been... all he wants to do is get home for Christmas. Zombie hard. Or whatever,
Train to New York.
And that's what it'll be.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
And it'll be
And the
So I don't know.
scientists
Wesley
go,
Snipes is just had an argument with his wife, and he's about to get on the train, and he's got to rush to get the train.
Won't be Wesley Snipes.
No, I know. I don't know where that came from.
John Cena,
Yeah,
maybe.
"Do, do, do, do."
just showing my age.
But he'd walk straight through though because the zombies can't see him. But no, well, it was just and I think that's what made it. There wasn't this forced, overarching kind of thing where so that's the retired cop, and she's a retired scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
And that guy there used to work in explosives.
Yeah,
And you know, like what it always is, and she's
And-
he's a
and-
doctor.
And no love interest either. You know, if it was an American film, there'd always
Yeah.
have to be a love
Yeah.
interest.
And I think all that just adds to it. It's the straight story.
well, the
of it.
sorry, but the cheerleader and the baseball
Oh,
guy
yeah,
would have
yeah.
got it on
Yeah,
at
and
the start of the film and
yeah.
then been killed pretty much straight away.
Yeah,
yeah.
'Cause that's the classic. That's the trope of a horror film: is you get your end away, you're dead next.
But even that looked like it was unrequited love for if
For a
it-
bit.
well,
of it.
it was just played normally.
yeah.
until everyone else got massacred, she was taking the piss out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was- I think it was him. Oh, we got a comment.
We're also live.
I know. George Buckflower's got a comment. I
Cool.
can't see it. But yeah. So I think that all added to it, and like I say, how it was filmed and how it was done was amazing. Yeah. Basically, I'm going for a 9 as well.
Hey.
Poll. Because it was almost faultless. Okay, throw this out. Why not a 10?
I'll go first, if you
Okay.
like. So the reason I'm not giving it a 10 is probably because for all the same reasons we've said it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is that there's nothing that explains what's going on. There's no well, that's it really. The story is literally just a snapshot of an hour train journey.
Yeah.
Just to lift it a little bit, we could have had some preamble to either, how his company is responsible for it, or what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the only reason I've taken a mark away is just because of that, and because that is all. It doesn't make any sense when you praise a film for being all of this, but then you take a mark away because it was all of that. But it is only a short snapshot of a train journey where there's no more to it. There's no expansive universe, if you like, to explain what's actually going on.
Apparently, I'm just looking it up now as you're talking, but that is the what the anime prequel is about. Is
Okay.
You get the
Cool. Same reasons. So
Yeah.
everything that I said that made it a 9, I can't give it a 10. There's some of the nice performances. There's equally, just a random, not it's good, but it's not as good as a I'd say definitely a 10. Yeah, and some of the little bits in it, as I said, some inconsistencies or whatever. Maybe I'm being harsh, I don't know, but I wouldn't give it a 10.
Yeah, it's just some of the sort of, and it might be that it's lost in translation, but some of the dialogue is a little bit stunted. And you're kind of left to fill in the blanks. But then that genuinely could just be lost in translation, or we're not on the same culturally. We're not on the same wavelength, so
Not on the same track.
yeah. So but we don't get some of the nuances about how people react to each other. Then because without trying to be stereotypical, but we know that there's differences between the class
Cultures,
systems are different in every country. So
I think
like the arsehole guy, the piece of shit is proper bossing around the train guard. That potentially could be kind of the norm, if you see what I mean.
Probably
Culturally,
would be, yeah.
because I know in other countries that I've visited that there really is that tier of so
And also, I think we've lost a bit again. For me, I think we lose a bit in translation with that, and also, like when he keeps looking at his phone, he's clearly looking at some sort of stock market news thing.
Yeah, and we don't know
and
what
we
that
don't
is.
know what that is. So there could be information there that we're missing that would not necessarily change the perception of the film, but just those little. Like I said,
No,
those
but we do
gaps
get
that
one
need
bit where
filled.
he's he I think whoever the first guy that he talks to on the phone, he's got that guy listed in his contacts as a long list of
Oh yeah,
of what's he called? It doesn't call them minions, lemmings. He calls them lemmings.
lemmings. Yeah.
So you are getting a measure of what what this guy thinks.
So
of
maybe
the
as well,
people.
then maybe like that other guy could have been him if he didn't have a daughter. You know, like he could be the piece of shit boss guy.
Yeah,
You know, like sort of thing. Yeah. But that's what it is for me as well. I just think we miss a bit of the detail or the finer details because either we don't get the cultural. There's probably cultural relevant little references and jokes that we don't understand. The fact that it's Busan from Seoul could have some sort of meaning to it that
Yeah.
we don't get and things like that. Yeah.
And also, 9's great. A 10 for me is, oh my God, that's made me think about something completely
it's
different.
life changing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
there are a
just
few
the-
films out there that have a big impact.
Yeah,
This
the
isn't
concept
supposed to
is
be one of
something
those.
higher than,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is a horror film. It's
Yeah.
it's not high concept. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would never give Inception probably anything more than 5. But from if you look at you look at Zombies on a Train, and then Conception.
Inception.
Inception.
So what did I say?
Conception. I don't know
Conception.
what films you've been
Incep-
watching.
That's your home movie.
That's the internet films. But yeah, do you know what I mean? There's a layer.
Yeah.
Even though it's actually I found it pretty shit, but there's more going on in that film.
Yeah.
More to think about, more to draw you in.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't get the.
Cool. That's right. Where does that put that on the board?
Well, do you want to have a guess where that puts us on the board?
Thinking
It's got to be top.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's number 2 now?
Invaders from Mars,
How-
followed by House. So both House and Invaders of Mars are joint second,
With
25.5.
Ooh.
And obviously Train to Busan has 27 because all three of us gave it a 9.
Cool.
Okay then. Okay then. So we'll kick into the shutdown procedure now, but just before we do, in 2 episodes' time, it'll be another spotlight, and it's Damon's choice.
It is my choice, and to be fair, I forgot it was my choice. So I'm going to fall back on the one that I've had kind of in the back of my mind for a number of months now, that I've just kind of been holding back, and I'll do that when I'm desperate. And today is one of those days when I'm desperate because I forgot. I'm going to take you. In fact, let me just get the year and everything. I've not even got it written down, so let me get the
Using
year.
Google.
I'm using Google
Hmm.
to give you an exact year. And
To be fair,
also-
we do kind of need that
Yeah.
for this one moment.
Bloody hell!
I've not heard of that film.
Here we go.
Bloody hell. It's
Going to
probably a
take you
brick.
back to 1982.
Ooh, 82.
82. And I'm going to give you the name John Amos, Tanya Roberts, Rip Torn, and the legend that is Mark Singer.
It's Beastmaster.
I'm going to make you watch
It's
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster. Yes.
Look at his excited little
Yeah.
face.
So there we have. Yeah,
Cool.
what's
What's
more
it
to
on?
say? I don't know. I'm on the Wikipedia page at the moment. Let me get. I'm pretty certain I watched it recently on Amazon.
Cool.
Let's have a look.
Ah,
It's on Prime Video. It says $3.49, but that might be because I'm not logged in.
dar.
It's also on Apple TV again for $3.49. So definitely on Amazon.
Beastmaster. Yes.
It's a classic. Well, we shall see.
I like the fact that when you do a search for Beastmaster on Amazon, other similar films that you might want to watch: Galaxy Quest, Goonies, Thong Girl versus Zoltar.
That's my one.
It
for
sounds
next time.
interesting. Anyway, so there we go. If you're going to play along at home, you've got 2 weeks to watch The Beastmaster.
Cool.
I'm saying it's a classic. That may change if I watch it again. We'll never know. We'll find out.
Cool. That's one off my list.
As I said, it's been on my list for a long time. I was toying with the idea of going for a horror, but we'll actually be out of Halloween season by that point. So I figured let's get back to normality. And what could be more normal than Beastmaster?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I'm not going to veto that.
No, definitely not. It's got Mark Singer in it.
It's been a long time. Been a long time for me.
Okay.
Cool.
Right, okay then. So if you have any opinions on what we've spoken about tonight or want to tell us what we got right, wrong, or just chat to us in general, you can email us at...
I was going to say, Brett's phone number is... or email us at cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
to keep
leave comments
and
And
stuff. Follow,
like and
share,
subscribe.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe.
If you have a suggestion for a film that we should be spotlighting,
Yeah, is there a film we don't even know about that you do? Tell us
stick it in the comments.
and make sure it's clean. None of those special films.
Well, I don't know.
We're not doing anything about Dallas.
Research.
We don't have to do a spotlight on it, but geez. Yeah.
And if you want to keep up with all the latest news and films and reviews and whatever else is going on, you can contact the mothership on
cultfaction.com.
yes. And we are all over the social medias. We're on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, the X.
The bathroom walls.
Yeah, and whatever. Then maybe on a bus stop near you. Please follow us, like us, share us, and all that, because it all helps. But that's it for this week now. Time stands still in our zone now. I've been Brett Summers,
I've been Paul Hawkins.
I've been Damien Hicks.
and that's Cult Faction.
Choo choo.
Superman.
Are you ready now?
Yeah. Fucking ready,
crazy.
alright?
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Bum, 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 bum. Say what? Don't leave me hanging on a telephone.
If you don't like the Smash, you don't have a heart.
Bollocks.